morning, everybody. This is Thoughts If It Were You, Food for Thought by Neogentrix, Relationships, the women's side. And it is 12:23 a.m. here where I am at, and the temperature outside is 28 degrees. How are you guys doing this morning? Last time we were talking about relationships for the women's side. We covered 23 topics in which women can use 23 things in which women can use to help improve their relationship with the man that they're with and teach them how to love them a little bit more and keep their eyes only on them. Today, I'm going to move on to the next bit. Like I mentioned before, we're going to talk about a couple of little tidbits here and there of other things that women can do to improve their relationships as well. And then we'll finish it off, hopefully either today or tomorrow, with these podcasts on this radio station. All right. So we're going to pick up where we left off, what relationships need in order to grow and evolve to become perfect, or at least perfect in a manner of speaking, okay? Here are a few things to talk about in a relationship that can help you do just that, okay? The first thing you need to keep in mind is that all relationships aren't the same, and the status of your relationship has a lot to do with the things you and your partner talk about, okay? While conversation comes naturally as two people start dating and falling in love with each other, there are a few conversations that can help create a perfect relationship over time. So, first off, answer this question. Again, remember the whole point of this, of my station and my channel here for this podcast is to make you think about what you're doing so that you can improve your lifestyle and make it better for both you and your loved ones, okay? So answer this. Are you new in a relationship, or are you in a seasoned long-term relationship? You need to consider which one of these you're actually in and what the state of it is, okay? Things to talk about in a relationship, okay? Conversations between couples have to be fun and yet illuminating, okay? I can give you a few things that you can talk about to keep it, exciting and love glowing strong, I guess is the best way to put it, okay? Irrespective of your relationship status, there are a few conversation tips that can help both both of you understand each other and create new exciting conversations that can keep the relationship alive even when it doesn't involve love and mush, okay? The first thing is daily individual lives, okay? Talk about each other's daily events and activities. It can help both of you understand more about each other's lives. Most couples ignore these conversations and end up drifting away from each other in no time because they don't choose to learn about the other person. Okay? Next would be movies and TV shows. Movies and television shows are perfect conversation makers for all couples. They provide for hours of gossiping and interesting conversations with a fresh perspective every day, as they never are constant. Okay? Next would be crushes and second glances. Okay? Do you think someone in your workshop is attractive, or is someone from the third floor trying to catch your attention by trying to flirt with you? Talk to your partner about it. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but these conversations can actually bring both of you more closer than even before and even eliminate insecurities. At the same time, it'll also help you avoid any unwanted attention from other people when you're trying to focus on the one that you're with. Okay? We're going to take a short interlude right here, and then we're going to pick it up with hobbies and interests. All right, next topic that we're going to cover here is hobbies and interests, okay? Do you like clubbing, painting, playing games? Talk about it with your partner. Our hobbies and interests change all the time, and keeping a lover in the loop will help both of you understand each other's likes and dislikes a lot better. Next would be silent conversations, okay? Silence is a beautiful thing in any relationship, okay? Just being able to sit next to each other without feeling awkward or having to worry about what to talk about is a sign of a perfect relationship already. But then again, are you both being comfortable with each other or just ignoring each other? You need to consider that as well. Sometimes you can be sitting there for the wrong reasons, not saying anything to each other. Next, new relationships are more fun and exciting. we're going to talk about those for a second. It's touchy-feely, sexy, and doesn't involve a hint of long-term relationship just yet. You may be floating on the bubble of infatuation and everything may just seem perfect. But if you want your relationship to stay the same forever, talk about serious issues in a lighter vein and avoid any long-term plans unless both of you are definitely serious about the relationship. Here are a few great things to talk about as well as far as a new relationship, okay? Goals and focus in life. New relationships are exciting and mysterious, but it helps a lot to start understanding each other's goals and aspirations in life early in the relationship to avoid the pain of being stuck in a relationship with two different goals and ideologies toward life, okay? You want to have something similar, something close to the other person, or at least be able to support each other despite the goals that y'all select, okay? New places to see, that's the next one here on my list. Talking about new places to spend the weekend together can be a lot of fun in a new relationship, Do you have a few favorite hangouts where you like to spend a few hours over the weekend, or did you just hear about a new restaurant or a movie that you definitely wanted to check out, These are things you can talk about to help improve your relationship. Oh, with that being said, gossip about each other's lives, okay? Talk about either of your friends and their relationships. Talk about work, talk about either of your favorite shows on TV. In a new relationship, even the most mundane of conversations can make your partner's eyes light up. Help both of you understand each other's friends, interests, and everything else with happy gossip, good gossip, not the bad kind. There is a difference between good and bad gossip, whereas one will help you as far as your relationship and your life goes, and the other will destroy everything that's in your path, which no one wants. Okay? Next thing is lifestyle and habits. What does your partner like doing over the weekend, okay? How long do they take to dress up for a night out? How long do they spend playing games every evening? What about vacations, family, pets, hobbies, and all the works? Couples in a new relationship have so many exciting things to talk about, don't they? Use these conversations to learn about each other's lifestyles and interests. It can help judge your compatibility for long term and avoid issues in the long run. And then on top of that, I'm going to go ahead and bring up a topic that's kind of hard for some people to talk about, their past relationships. Past relationships are suspense thrillers in the dating scenario. We want to talk about it, but yet we're too scared to talk about it because we feel like the time is right. Talking about it before the time is right can hurt you, but at the same time, if you don't talk about it, it can cause problems later. Okay? Don't talk about your past relationships until you're a few months into the new relationship, unless, of course, it crops up out of the blue into a conversation, which is what I was saying before. Hiding facts about past relationships or revealing them too soon can create insecurities and confusion, and that could damage a relationship before it has time to even create a strong foundation. So keep this in mind as well. Moving on. Next thing to talk about in season long-term relationships, okay? Long-term relationships are not easy to experience, okay? But if you've been past a few years and are still deeply in love with each other, well, kudos to you, okay? I congratulate you right here, right now, okay? Here are a few things to talk about in long-term relationships that will ensure that both of you still think along the same lines. After all, a perfect long-term relationship isn't defined by two people in love with each other. It's defined by the two people who love each other and understand each other more than anyone else in the world does, okay? Things you can actually talk about after this point. Finances. Finances and money issues play a big part in any long-term relationship, and monetary satisfaction is a long-term in a long-term relationship can be achieved only if both partners discuss ways to save money, invest money, and as well spend it. Next would be your future together and paired goals. Going back to the goals thing here. One of the satisfying conversations of a long-term relationship is the one involving future plans and goals in life. Talk about your dreams and aspirations with your partner, and make sure you know your partner's wants and dreams in life too. Okay? Sometimes we assume we know everything about our partner, but it takes a few conversations and exchange of ideas to truly understand each other's instead of making wrong assumptions. Okay? It's better to ask questions than to assume and make an ass of yourself. Okay? Next would be vacations and getaways. Okay? Vacations are a happy time for each partner, and both of you work hard all year long and may want to look toward, to forward to something exciting, pleasurable, to renew the excitement of love and life. Okay, talk about vacation, even if you intend to travel several months from now. Okay, talking about taking a break and romantic getaway can help fill both of you with a surge of happiness and motivation, even if there's a lot of hurdles of pain today. Okay, it helps create relief. Next is kids and families. Okay, families may seem perfect on the outside, but every one of them has a few cracks that can be a minor annoyance. Okay, discuss about family matters and how either of you can deal with it. Talk about kids and their lives ahead. Okay, and if you don't have kids just yet, talk about when you intend to have them and how you can plan for them. Conversations like these are better spoken earlier than later. Also, considering how many you actually want to try to have, so that you're not just having them at random. Okay, you don't want to say, okay, we're just gonna have kids and say you're gonna have 2 and try but end up with 3 because the set came out as twins. Okay, always consider possibilities. All right, next is intellectual conversations and emotional growth. Okay, in a perfect relationship, both partners must be able to predict each other's thinking and behavior, but it doesn't end with little odd jobs or happy surprises. Okay, life is a complex experience that's as unique as we are. Okay, have intellectual conversations about life, the paths people choose, the hurdles both of you have overcome, and mysterious forces that both of you believe in. Okay, when you grow emotionally and intellectually as a couple, and both of you will come closer to each other spiritually and intellectually. Okay, and if that doesn't make for a perfect couple, think about it, what would? Okay, basically, to experience a perfect relationship, you need to remember these little things to talk about in any relationship, because they really, really can make the difference between a happy romantic ending and a very messed up, twisted, confused one. Okay? Like I mentioned before, I want to help you make your relationship more stable. But the only way we can do this is if you stop and consider your options and think about what you're doing, before you actually do it. Okay, well, that concludes my radio podcast for tonight. Next, we'll be covering let me have a look here real quick. The next topic we're going to cover is 10 reasons why saying I love you too soon can cause issues, and how to talk dirty to a guy and basically sound really sexy. Okay, but before I get to that, like I mentioned before, these topics and things in which I bring up are stuff for everyone to consider and to think about. Yes, guys may be logical and women may be more emotional, but it doesn't stop the fact that we both have to stop and consider the other side, how the other person feels, and actually think about the actions we do in these relationships to help us move forward. Okay? No relationship is going to move forward and go in the direction it's supposed to if we don't put in the effort to actually make it work. Okay? While guys may have the hardest side of most of the work in which to do, women still need to consider their actions and what they do, because they can either help build the attraction to the guy they're in love with or want to be with, or they can completely destroy it in a matter of seconds and without doing anything to even fix it in the first place. Thinking that you're right and always right, and that no one is more right than you because you're a female and guys are all idiots, is the wrong way to go about it. Whether we are or not is irrelevant. How you choose to handle that and what you do with it is more important. Because if you consider every guy to be the same and you don't even put any trust in any one of us, or even risk putting yourself out there and trying to do some of the work to help make the relationship work, it's going to fail. Okay? So I'm covering these topics because I want to help both sides. Okay? I'm not rooting for the guys. I'm not rooting for the women. I'm rooting for a successful relationship that lasts more than 6 to 8 months, possibly a year. Okay? You can't come to me and tell me that you've had a good relationship for a year and then it dies. Well, then it wasn't a good relationship because it didn't manage to make it any further than 1 year. But kudos to anyone who's managed to stay in a relationship for more than 2 to 3 years. Okay? You must be doing something right. And as for these tips that I'm giving you here, just because you're doing something right, up until this point doesn't mean that you're still going to continue to do so. You need to consider what you're doing and keep doing what works, but at the same time, add a little spice to your life so that it's not completely boring as you're moving forward, and you're not just, existing in the relationship and you're just expecting both people to be there as a whole. This is considered a stagnant relationship where basically you expect the other person to always be there, but you're not doing anything to help incite it. Okay? Well, that brings this particular radio podcast to an end. And until next time, this is Neogentrix on Thoughts If It Were You, Relationships, the Women's Side. Okay? We will pick this back up with the next piece next time.